Welcome back to Pastor Emilie's Story Hour. We're reading The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. We're still in the second epoch of the story. This is part 34. "Speak, my friend," said Count Fosco, "and pardon me if I shock your fiery national tastes by mixing myself a second glass of sugar and water." "Well, it's very well to say 'speak,'" replied Sir Percival in a far more quiet and more polite tone than he had yet adopted. "It's not so easy to know how to begin." "Shall I help you?" suggested the Count. "Shall I give this private difficulty of yours a name? What if I call it Anne Catherick?" "Look here, Fosco, you and I have known each other for a long time, and you have helped me out of one or two scrapes before this. I've done the best I could to help you in return, as far as money would go. We have made as many friendly sacrifices on both sides as men could, but we have had our secrets from each other, of course, haven't we?" "Well, you have had a secret from me, Percival. There is a skeleton in your cupboard here at Blackwater Park that has peeped out in these last few days at other people besides yourself." "Well, I suppose it has. It doesn't concern you. You needn't be curious about it, need you?" "Do I look curious about it?" "Yes, you do." So, my face speaks the truth, then. What an immense foundation of good there must yet be in the nature of a man who arrives at my age and whose face has not yet lost the habit of speaking the truth. Come, Glyde, let us be candid with one another. This secret of yours has sought me. I have not sought it. Let us say I am curious. Do you ask me as your old friend to respect your secret and to leave it once for all in your own keeping?" "Yes, that's just what I do ask." "Then my curiosity is at an end. It dies in me from this moment." "Do you really mean that?" "What makes you doubt me?" "I have had some experience, Fosco, of your roundabout ways, and I am not so sure that you won't worm it out of me after all." The chair below suddenly creaked again. I felt the trellis-work pillar under me shake from top to bottom. The Count had started to his feet and had struck it with his hand in indignation. "Percival, Percival!" he cried passionately. "Do you know me no better than that? Has all your experience shown you nothing of my character yet? I am a man of the antique type. I am capable of the most exalted acts of virtue when I have the chance of performing them. It has been the misfortune of my life that I have had few chances. My conception of friendship is sublime. Is it my fault that your skeleton has peeped out at me? Why do I confess my curiosity? You poor superficial Englishman, it is to magnify my own self-control. I could draw your secret out of you if I liked, as I draw this finger out of the palm of my hand. You know I could. But you have appealed to my friendship, and the duties of friendship are sacred to me. See, I trample my base curiosity under my feet. My exalted sentiments lift me above it. Recognize them, Percival. Imitate them, Percival. Shake hands. I forgive you." His voice faltered over the last words, faltered as if he were actually shedding tears. Sir Percival confusedly attempted to excuse himself, but the Count was too magnanimous to listen to him. "No," he said, "when my friend has wounded me, I can pardon him without apologies. Tell me in plain words, do you want my help again?" "Yes, badly enough." "And you can ask for it without compromising yourself?" "Well, I can try at any rate." "Try, then." "Well, this is how it stands. I told you today that I had done my best to find Anne Catherick, and failed." "Yes, you did." "Fosco, I am a lost man if I don't find her." "Huh? Is it so serious as that?" A little stream of light traveled out under the veranda and fell over the gravel walk. The Count had taken the lamp from the inner part of the room to see his friend clearly by the light of it. "Yes," he said, "your face speaks the truth this time. Serious indeed. As serious as the money matters themselves. More serious. As true as I sit here, more serious." The light disappeared again, and the talk went on. "I showed you the letter to my wife that Anne Catherick hid in the sand," Sir Percival continued. "There's no boasting in that letter, Fosco. She does know the secret." Say as little as possible, Percival, in my presence of the secret. Does she know it from you? No, from her mother. 2 women in possession of your private mind. Bad, 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 my friend. One question here before we go any further. The motive of your shutting up the daughter in the asylum is now plain enough to me, but the manner of her escape is not quite so clear. Do you suspect the people in charge of her of closing their eyes purposely, at the instance of some enemy who could afford to make it worth their while? No, she was the best behaved patient they had, and like fools they trusted her. She's just mad enough to be shut up, and just sane enough to ruin me when she's at large, if you understand that. I do understand it. Now, Percival, come at once to the point, and then I shall know what to do. Where is the danger of your position at the present moment? Anne Catherick is in this neighborhood and in communication with Lady Glyde. There's the danger, plain enough. Who can read the letter she hid in the sand and not see that my wife is in possession of the secret, deny it as she may? One moment, Percival. If Lady Glyde does know the secret, she must know also that it is a compromising secret for you. As your wife, surely it is in her interest to keep it. Is it? I'm coming to that. It might be in her interest if she cared 2 straws for me, but I happen to be an encumbrance in the way of another man. She was in love with him before she married me. She's in love with him now, an infernal vagabond of a drawing master named Hartright. My dear friend, what is there extraordinary in that? They are all in love with some other man. Who gets the first of a woman's heart? In all my experience, I have never yet met with the man who was number 1. Number 2, sometimes. Number 3, 4, 5, often. Number 1, never. He exists, of course, but I have not met with him. Wait, I haven't done yet. Who do you think helped Anne Catherick to get the start when the people from the madhouse were after her? Hartright. Who do you think saw her again in Cumberland? Hartright. Both times he spoke to her alone. Stop! Don't interrupt me. The scoundrel's as sweet on my wife as she is on him. He knows the secret, and she knows the secret. Once let them both get together again, and it's her interest and his interest to turn their information against me. Gently, Percival, gently. Are you insensible to the virtue of Lady Glyde? That for the virtue of Lady Glyde. I believe in nothing about her but her money. Don't you see how the case stands? She might be harmless enough by herself, but she and that vagabond Hartright... Yes, I see. Where is Mr. Hartright? Out of the country. If he means to keep a whole skin on his bones, I recommend him not to come back in a hurry. Are you sure he is out of the country? Certain. I had him watched from the time he left Cumberland to the time he sailed. Oh, I've been careful, I can tell you. Anne Catherick lived with some people at a farmhouse near Limmeridge. I went there myself after she had given me the slip and made sure they knew nothing. I gave her mother a form of letter to write to Miss Halcombe, exonerating me from any bad motive in putting her under restraint. I've spent, I'm afraid to say how much, in trying to trace her, and in spite of it all, she turns up here and escapes me on my own property. How do I know who else may see her, who else may speak to her? That prying scoundrel Hartright might come back tomorrow without my knowing it, and might make use of her. Not he, Percival. While I am on the spot, and while that woman is in the neighborhood, I will answer for our laying hands on her before Mr. Hartright, even if he does come back. I see. Yes, I see. The finding of Anne Catherick is the first necessity. Make your mind easy about the rest. Your wife is here, under your thumb. Miss Halcombe is inseparable from her, and is therefore under your thumb also. And Mr. Hartright is out of the country. This invisible Anne of yours is all we have to think of for the present. You have made your inquiries. Yes, I have been to her mother, I have ransacked the village, and all to no purpose. Is her mother to be depended on? Yes. She has told your secret once. She won't tell it again. Why not? Are her own interests concerned in keeping it as well as yours? Yes, deeply concerned. I am glad to hear it, Percival, for your sake. Don't be discouraged, my friend. Our money matters, as I told you, leave me plenty of time to turn round in, and I may search for Anne Catherick tomorrow to better purpose than you. One last question before we go to bed. What is it? It is this. When I went to the boathouse to tell Lady Glyde that the little difficulty of her signature was put off, accident took me there in time to see a strange woman parting in a very suspicious manner from your wife. But accident did not bring me near enough to see this same woman's face plainly. I must know how to recognize our invisible Anne. What is she like? Like? Come, I'll tell you in 2 words. She's a sickly likeness of my wife. The chair creaked, and the pillar shook once more. The Count was on his feet again, this time in astonishment. "What?" he exclaimed eagerly. "Fancy my wife, after a bad illness, with a touch of something wrong in her head, and there is Anne Catherick for you," answered Sir Percival. "Are they related to each other?" "Not a bit of it." "Yet so like." "Yes, so like. What are you laughing about?" There was no answer, and no sound of any kind. The Count was laughing in his smooth, silent, internal way. "What are you laughing about?" reiterated Sir Percival. "Perhaps at my own fancies, my good friend. Allow me my Italian humor. Do I not come of the illustrious nation which invented the exhibition of Punch? Well, well, well. I shall know Anne Catherick when I see her. And so enough for tonight. Make your mind easy, Percival. Sleep, my son, the sleep of the just, and see what I will do for you when daylight comes to help us both. I have my projects and my plans here in my big head. You shall pay those bills and find Anne Catherick. My sacred word of honor upon it. You shall. Am I a friend to be treasured in the best corner of your heart, or am I not? Am I worth those loans of money which you so delicately reminded me of a little while since? Whatever you do, never wound me in my sentiments any more. Recognize them, Percival. Imitate them, Percival. I forgive you again. I shake hands again. Good night." Not another word was spoken. I heard the Count close the library door. I heard Sir Percival barring up the window shutters. It had been raining all the time. I was cramped by my position and chilled to the bones. When I first tried to move, the effort was so painful to me that I was obliged to desist. I tried a second time and succeeded in rising to my knees on the wet roof. As I crept to the wall and raised myself against it, I looked back and saw the window of the Count's dressing room gleam into light. My sinking courage flickered up in me again and kept my eyes fixed on his window as I stole back, step by step, past the wall of the house. The clock struck the 1:15 when I laid my hands on the window-sill of my own room. I had seen nothing and heard nothing which could lead me to suppose that my retreat had been discovered. Come back tomorrow for the next installment.